the young and the restless spoilers. Lucy was no longer the innocent girl everyone once knew. The devastating loss of her mother had changed her in ways no one could have anticipated. Her family had fallen apart, shattered by the cruel truth that her mother had been murdered, and worse yet, by someone they had once trusted. Sharon. The name echoed in her mind like a curse. For weeks, Lucy had felt like she was drowning in grief, and with every passing day, that grief had turned into a seething rage. There was no one left to comfort her. Daniel, her father, was consumed by his own guilt and grief. The once tight-knit family had unraveled, leaving Lucy to fend for herself, isolated and broken. With nowhere else to turn, Lucy sought solace in the only thing that dulled the pain: alcohol. She had never imagined herself as someone who would turn to drinking to cope, but in her darkest moments, the numbness that alcohol provided was the only escape from the unbearable heartache. It wasn't long before the bottle became her constant companion, filling the void left by her mother's absence. And with every drink, her anger toward Sharon grew, festering like an open wound. The night it happened, Lucy had been drinking for hours, drowning in her sorrow and rage. She had heard whispers, bits and pieces of information that had been circling around town. It was said that Sharon had something to do with her mother's death, and that information lit a fire in Lucy's already fragile state of mind. Drunk and emboldened by her fury, she made a decision: Sharon would pay for what she had done. Fueled by alcohol and vengeance, Lucy grabbed the gun her father kept hidden in the house, a relic of his paranoia and protection. She didn't even think twice as she headed toward Sharon's house, her mind a blur of anger and grief. The streets were quiet as she stumbled toward her destination, but inside her head, everything was roaring. She could hear her mother's voice, could feel the weight of her loss pressing down on her chest. It was suffocating. When Lucy arrived at Sharon's house, the door was unlocked, as if fate had opened it for her. She slipped inside, the gun clutched tightly in her trembling hands. Her vision was hazy from the alcohol, but her determination was sharp, crystal clear. She would make Sharon pay for what she had done. Lucy moved silently through the house, her heart pounding in her chest. She could hear faint sounds from the other rooms. Faith and Mariah must have been asleep, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just a few feet away. And there, in the living room, was Sharon, asleep on the couch, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. Lucy stood there for a moment, the gun heavy in her hand, watching Sharon as she slept. For a brief second, she hesitated, a flash of doubt creeping into her mind. But then she remembered her mother, the pain of losing her, the lies, the betrayal. Her hand steadied, her finger hovering over the trigger. The sound of her heavy breathing must have woken Sharon, because she stirred, her eyes fluttering open. At first, Sharon seemed disoriented, confused by the sight of Lucy standing there in the dark. But then she saw the gun, and her confusion turned to horror. "You know exactly what I'm doing," Lucy slurred, her voice thick with alcohol and fury. "You killed my mother, and now you're going to pay for it." Sharon's eyes widened, and she slowly sat up, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Lucy, please, you've got this all wrong. I didn't kill your mother. I swear to you. You need to put the gun down." But Lucy shook her head violently, her finger tightening on the trigger. "Don't lie to me. I know what you did. You deserve to die for what you've done." Sharon's heart raced. She could see the wild look in Lucy's eyes, the unsteady way she held the gun, and she knew she was in real danger. "Lucy, listen to me. You're upset, and I understand that. You've been through so much, and I'm so sorry for what happened to your mother. But this isn't the way. You don't want to do this." Lucy's hand wavered slightly, the weight of the gun suddenly feeling overwhelming. She was drunk, angry, and devastated, and in that moment, she wasn't sure if she wanted to pull the trigger or collapse into tears. Sharon seized the moment of hesitation. "Think about your father, Lucy. Think about what this will do to him. He's already lost so much. Do you really want him to lose you, too?" For a split second, Lucy's resolve wavered. She thought of her father, of the pain he had already endured, and it cut through the fog of her drunken haze. But then the rage came flooding back, stronger than ever. Her mother was dead because of Sharon, and nothing Sharon said could change that. Shut up. Lucy screamed, her voice cracking with emotion. You don't get to talk about my father. You ruined everything, and now you're going to pay.